In fact, isn't the advice always carry a notebook? Do you adhere to that?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, one of the characters in, let me think, Darkness Falls, in fact, it's the killer in Darkness Falls. I was working on the outline for that many years ago. It's based in Chester, and I couldn't get a clear picture in my mind of the mentality of this killer, who's a bit of a stalker and sort of watches people. And then I had a disastrous event. I think it was actually with Murder Squad at, shall I say it? I'll just say a bookshop in Liverpool where we had one person turn up.
Oh, no.
Literally one person.
Oh,
and
no.
I have the feeling that he wasn't really there for us. And we
Oh.
kind of drew him in.
It has happened. I've had the odd, you never check football matches and things
Oh,
like that
yeah.
sometimes, arranging a book event when Liverpool are playing Everton on a Saturday afternoon at 3:00.
Not the best idea.
Many people turn up as you'd expect.
So at the end of this session, everyone else had gone. I was waiting outside the bookshop because I was meeting my husband afterwards. And as I was watching people in this foul temper, it has to be said, I started watching them the way the killer might watch them, looking for the attractive women, the women who might appeal to him as a type, and also looking for the vulnerable and looking how he might kind of draw on that vulnerability. So I was able to get into the mind of the killer at that particular moment, and that actually opened up the entire novel for me.
So that's a sort of brilliant, point you make there. As the writer then, how hard is it to be both the killer and the detective? How do you do that? Have you got an easy way of explaining that when you're putting it together?
I don't think I've got an easy way of explaining it. I've always been good at compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
And a former head of department of mine, in fact, the first school I taught at, always said, "Oh, you always see everyone else's point of view." And it was because I was kind of standing up for someone that he didn't want me to stand up for at the time. So I think that's probably been an innate thing that I can kind of, I would hate to say I was empathizing with the killer, but I can kind of see the mindset almost. So I think it's something that's sort of natural to you. And as you mentioned earlier, it is about being observant as well, and watching things like body language and how people respond to other people. What kind of verbal responses, non-verbal responses, you're watching that all the time, and you're not necessarily aware you're doing it.